What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Shift on YouTube. Today you got Francisco Rojas here. We're going to get to this brand new video in just a moment. But first, go make sure you check out the latest episode of The Shift Baseball Show, the podcast, whether you're watching us on YouTube, and thank you if you are. And, if you'd rather listen to the podcast, which I totally understand because I listen to podcasts all the time, I'll have the link to that in the description below. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Google, wherever you get your podcast, pretty much, man. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you're gonna find that. And I'll have the description box below. Go make sure you check our last episode, continuing our series talking about our all-time lineup/roster for each franchise. Last week we did the Red Sox. Did the Dodgers the first week, so we're going to continue that going forward. So make sure, leave in the comments what team you want to see us do next, which franchise you'd like to see us do. So go make sure you check that out. So that'll be in the description box below. So getting to today's video. Look, I love pitching. I 100% love one of my favorite things about baseball, especially as I've gotten older, and really understanding how tough hitting the baseball is in the major leagues, especially. I mean, at any level, really, but especially in the majors, it's downright impossible. I'm coming at you guys with a three pitching matchups to watch this upcoming week. Now, I took into consideration that, if you go on MLB's website, if you go on whether it's ESPN, Baseball Savant, Fangraphs, wherever, they do have projected starters for some of the future matchups and in the coming days. But I wanted to focus on, just because MLB.com will do a lot of like TBA if they're not sure who's pitching yet for that team that day. So I'm going to stick to just the matchups according to MLB.com that we know of right now. I'm going to give you guys 3 starting pitching matchups. Then I'm going to give you a wild card at the end too. I'll give you a little something extra, for the heck of it. So stick around for the wild card there, and giving you a little something extra. Why not? So pitching matchup to watch, and this is within the next 5 days. That's the matchups I went with that we know of. So number 1 pitching matchup to watch tomorrow with Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees. Joe Ryan, the Twins, Joe Ryan, and the Yankees, Nestor Cortez. Joe Ryan sitting this year, and the reason why I think he's someone to watch, I mean, he kind of burst onto the scene last year with the Twins, putting up a pretty good season for them. This year, he does have a 3.24 ERA, very good, but he has a 2.46 expected ERA. And I'm looking at a lot of the StatCast numbers. He's 5th in expected weighted on base average, 248, and 5th in expected on base percentage at 243. So Joe Ryan's, if you dive deeper into the numbers, he's been better than expected. So he's someone to keep an eye on, especially going up against Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees. On the other side, Nestor Cortez has been good this year so far. He's following up his breakout season with the Yankees from last year. 4 starts, 3.09 ERA. That's good for a 1.41 ERA plus in 23 innings. And just over, his career low, it looks like so far in walk percentage with just over 4% at a walk rate for Nestor Cortez. So Nestor's been good so far this year. So I think that's an exciting matchup to watch this year, or this week. When it comes to Nestor Cortez and Joe Ryan, definitely a good, lefty and righty matchups to watch. So Joe Ryan, Nestor Cortez, that's number 1. Number 2, there's a lot of excitement here, man. Mackenzie Gore, the Nationals, you don't have too much to get excited about with the Nationals, but the Nationals, Mackenzie Gore, and the Mets, Kodai Senga, that's on Wednesday. Gore coming in with a 3.43 ERA in 21 innings in 4 starts. Coming off a season-high 7 strikeouts in 6 innings against Baltimore last time out. Gore is a fun one just because Gore was a number 1 prospect with the Padres. He was a top 10 prospect in baseball when he was on the Padres, but now he's with the Nationals. And I believe, did he come over in the Soto trade? That would make sense, right? If he came over in the Soto trade. And he's just someone to monitor. I love, my co-host, on this show, on the shift, Nick Earnshaw, he loves the prospects. I enjoy the prospects too, and Gore is someone, I like to monitor the top prospects, and Gore definitely, fits into that category when it comes to, the former top prospects. So exciting to, especially with him having a good start to the season, Mackenzie Gore. So Gore is someone to watch against Kodai Senga. Kodai Senga's, on the, he played in Japan last year, or he played in Japan his entire pro career, right? And he's been kind of shaky with the Mets so far. He hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been great. So ERA over 4, just the 11th percentile in walk percentage. Like, Kodai has not been what Mets fans and what baseball fans have expected in general so far. So Kodai is someone to watch for this matchup, because we all want to see that ghost fork. It's nasty. We want to see Kodai Senga excel at the major league level. I think it's good for international play and Major League Baseball in general. So Kodai Senga and Mackenzie Gore are something to watch. Third, Bryce Elder and Sandy Alcantara. Bryce Elder has been, besides Max Fried coming off the IL, Bryce Elder with a 1.14 ERA. Yeah, his expected ERA is a good amount higher. But besides that, he's been pretty good this year. His strikeout percentage is 4% up from last year. And just the fact that, minus Max Fried, he's been one of the better pitchers for the Braves so far. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can continue to pitch at the level that he's pitched at so far as like the earned runs go. With Atlanta having the good start to their season they've had. On the other side, Sandy Alcantara for the Miami Marlins, and this is on Wednesday, by the way. Excuse me, this is on Wednesday. Sandy Alcantara, coming off of 2 bad starts. Maybe the Phillies broke him. Did the Phillies break Sandy Alcantara? Possibly. I have no idea. But Alcantara on the season, 5.47 ERA. And this is following up his 100-pitch complete game shutout with the Marlins. So Sandy's one to watch as well. Sandy Alcantara and Bryce Elder. Sandy, the former Cy Young Award winner from last year. Bryce Elder having a good start to the season for the Atlanta Braves. And then my wild card here. Wanted to bring you guys a kind of a wild card here, because it's not like a starting pitching matchup where I'm just like, oh my God, I would love to see that. Just like with Elder, Alcantara, and the other 2 that I named here. But Mason Miller and Griffin Canning. Mason Miller of the Athletics was just called up for the A's, and it was a pretty exciting debut. No, he did not go. He did not have a perfect debut by any means. It was 4 innings or 4 1/3. A couple of earned, but his stuff is just nasty. He's throwing he's maxing out at 102, 103 on the fastball. His slider and cutter are just both just disgusting. Rob Friedman, Pitching Ninja, he tweeted this is the future of baseball and pitching right now. So Mason Miller is definitely someone to keep an eye on. And I think this is according to Codify, that Miller's just a nugget here. Miller's 15 pitches in his debut against the Cubs, 15 pitches at 100 plus miles per hour, the most in a single game by an Oakland A's pitcher in the entire pitch tracking era. That's incredible. So he's someone to watch. Griffin Canning, on the other hand, he's been good since he's come off the IL, but this is really about Mason Miller. Yeah, it's Griffin Canning, just want to mention, 2 earned in about 5 innings pitched the last couple of starts. He's been good. Yeah, I think he is a key to the Angels, as their pitching has definitely been a struggle for them, the last 5 to 7 years. So Griffin Canning, someone to see if he can continue that. But Mason Miller, man, Mason Miller is really the one where, gosh, he's just been, he hasn't, been great to start, but his stuff is nasty. And you think the guy's only going to get better. The guy's only going to get better, right? So Mason Miller, someone to watch. It's really Mason Miller watch here. Yes, Griffin Canning, Mason Miller. I just kind of wanted it. Look, it was the wild card. It wasn't one of the main 3, so don't kill me, okay? So Mason Miller, Griffin Canning. That's my my last one there. So Joe Ryan, Nestor Cortez, that's tomorrow. Mackenzie Gore, Kodai Senga Wednesday, as is Bryce Elder and Sandy Alcantara. And Mason Miller and Griffin Canning's tomorrow. So you get that tomorrow. Mason Miller watch coming on a Tuesday in late April. So those are my pitching matchups to watch this week. Give me some other pitching matchups to watch this week, maybe that I didn't mention. There were some other good ones, but those were the 3 to 4 most intriguing that I saw. So that's going to do it for me. It's Francisco Rojas, and I will we'll talk to you guys soon on the podcast with Nick Earnshaw.